Hi everybody, it's Annette from The Art of Intuition. Today we're going to talk about when to pull out our power aspects. So I have had this question come up before and I have noticed it in myself quite a bit lately. So I think it's time to maybe go back and look at when do we pull out our power aspects? When do we stand up for ourselves? When do we pull out our very powerful Sirian energy, our very powerful God energy? When do we take control of a situation? And when is it not appropriate to do that? Because I've talked before about a lot of people think when you live from your higher aspects, when you try to live from your soul aspects, that you're very soft and ooey gooey and everything's perfect and people can walk all over you. And a lot of people, I know people who meet me, a lot of people think they can, it's this interpretation that we're always supposed to be soft and kind, and we are. And it's not that we're not, because that's really what our pure states are. They are soft and kind. And most people who know me know that I am kind. But that's not all that there is to us. There's also the power side. So when things are not respectful, when things are not appropriate, when we feel like we are not being treated with respect, then we also can have a power side of us. And that power side of us is something we bring out when it's necessary. Because those energies are very important too. You need those energies to align your realities. You need those energies to say, that's not acceptable. This is what's acceptable in my reality. If you want to be here, then you have to be acceptable and you have to do things that are respectful and hold integrity. And if you don't, you can't be in a reality with me or with us, right? You can't be here. So when do we do that? So if you need to pull out, and you can always pull out a very powerful energy, a very powerful aspect of yourself from a soft, kind place. But when you're dealing with a very strong ego, sometimes that's not easy to do. Sometimes we have to be mindful of how we do it, and we have to be powerful. When we're trying to align a reality of ours, and that's the key word, our reality, that has gotten out of alignment. If people are raising voices, if they're shouting, if there's immense anger being spewed, the reality is completely out of alignment, right? So those are our first cues that we have to align it. If we feel like we're constantly being taken advantage of, we only have people show up when they want something, and other times you don't hear from them. You have to look at the situation and how it pertains to you. If you're trying to align a reality that, we've allowed to get completely out of alignment, that's when you pull out the power. If you have to. If you can't align it being soft and kind and having clear communication with someone, and it hasn't worked, then sometimes we have to say this isn't acceptable anymore. You can still do it in a respectful way, but we have to stand up and be more powerful. If you've never done that before, you have to stand up and be more powerful. It's important we can do that. So that's when it's appropriate, when we're trying to align something in our life. It is, however, not appropriate, and it oversteps our bounds when we're pulling out that power when we see someone else's life not in alignment. When we're having a conversation and someone doesn't agree with us. And I've noticed that a lot in myself lately. I find I'm puffing up a lot, in a sense, and expanding out when it's not necessary. Because the conversations I'm having or the situations I'm in are not appropriate for that. It doesn't matter. It's not my life. It's not aligning anything for me. So when are you doing it? Because when you're pulling out your power, when you're pulling it out in a reality that is not yours, it is out of alignment because someone else is letting their reality get out of alignment. And we're trying to overstep and get in there and saying, no, it's this way, you need to look at it this way. Then we're energetically overstepping our bounds, and that's all ego. And that is never from our higher aspects. It's completely not appropriate. So right now we have a lot of power plays going on in different dimensions, in different realities. You can see it everywhere, and the collectives are doing it. So I think it's also if we hold those codes in our body for those collectives, even if we're not playing in those realities, we still hold some of the genetic coding in our body, we're going to play it out. It's going to trigger. And I know it's triggering for me, where I want to stand up and be like, no, that's not right. It's this way. And then I'm looking at myself and I'm like, why am I doing that? I'm pulling out power when I don't need to. Now, if someone's being disrespectful, it's different. But if it's just us overstepping, and you'll know the line, look at when you're doing it. Because if we're doing it, because we have, our feelings are getting a little hurt, that's always ego. If we're feeling our feelings are getting a little hurt, or we're feeling a little slighted, or we just want to be heard, so we're going to talk louder, that's not the time. And we're really not even pulling out that aspect of ourselves. We're pulling out our ego, because our ego is getting a little offended, and our ego wants to stand up. It's not from its purest place. So look at when you pull your power out. Really look at when you pull your power out, because that's a big one right now. Pull it out when it's time. And if it's not time, it's not appropriate, be soft, be kind. If it's not in your reality, technically it's not your business. We have to let everyone do their realities. And yes, we might want them to do them our way. We might want them to do them with us, but that is not up to us to try to powerfully force it. That's not our job. Our job is to align our own stuff. And if we need to be powerful, we can be there and we can go there. But it might not be always appropriate. So really look at when you do it. And keep practicing the art of intuition.